today, it sounds like you're advocating for a partnership rather than a hierarchy. But I wonder what happens if that analysis doesn't lead to a consensus. If they've both laid out their truths and they're still worlds apart, who gets the final say?
Well, it's let's think about it a little bit. So let's analyze it. So first, the parents, if they are no, okay, let's do it again. So the parents, they can be stubborn and no, not stubborn. They are just persistent with their views, and they can clearly see some faults in the decision making of the child. So the parents, they can not tell the children, but sometimes they can be viewed as stubborn, prideful, and not supporting. Well, yeah, it's quite complicated.
It really is.
The children,
It's a messy spot.
the children themselves have to have to open up their viewpoints and see what their parents see, while the parents themselves will have to understand the child's passion, and also the roots of the reason why the child would even choose that path. It's about understanding.
Exactly. It's all about that deeper understanding. It sounds like you're saying the conflict isn't really about the career choice itself, but about whether both people feel truly heard. If the parents acknowledge the why behind the passion and the child acknowledges the why behind the worry, the whole energy of the conversation changes. Do you think most parents are actually capable of that kind of emotional openness, or is the desire for control usually too strong?
Yes, in my opinion, only a very small proportion of parents are fully capable of understanding their own child. So, in my own viewpoints, pride is something that everyone has, but in the time of development and aging, people can be a little bit carried away in their own pride, like wisdom and age sometimes can be viewed as going together, like the older you are, the more wise you are. People sometimes view it that way. So the parents, compared to the children, are of course older and sometimes wiser. It's only sometimes right, actually, because pride is something that everyone has, and the parents can actually be a little bit prideful in their wisdom because they think that they are old, they are more experienced, so they can grow an excessive sense of control over their own children, forcing them to listen to their advices and words, while not actually caring about how the child would feel, and maybe even overlook the fact that the child can be intelligent themselves, and they are actually ignoring the fact that they are preventing the child's further development of their own wisdom.
It's a sharp observation. It's like a paradox. By trying to use their wisdom to protect the child, they end up blocking the child from actually developing their own. They're essentially trying to give the child the destination without letting them take the journey. Do you think that cycle of control usually breaks on its own as the child gets older, or does it take a specific kind of confrontation to snap parents out of that mindset?
Well, in my opinion,
I'll take that as a... You got me curious.
Okay.
I'm all ears.
In my opinion, I think there is only two ways that this can go. First, it's about the children cutting ties with their parents entirely. This outcome can be a little bit extreme, but it's pretty true actually, because well, when the sense of control are not unbearable, the child will have this um, deep desire to break out of their parents' control and earn their own freedom. This can this can lead to a very negative outcome.
That's a
The children will end up cutting ties with their parents now in order to escape that form of control, while the parents may not actually realize it, because well, the children are now gone. The children are gone. They cannot confront or actually tell the parents what they are wrong before it's even too late. And another way is
it's a
that
tragedy of
and another outcome is about the children ultimately accepts the truth that their parents cannot change. They would just like shrug at the reality and just keep going on. This can be both negative and positive at the same time. No, it can be considered wisdom, no, because while the children are now at ease with everything that their parents do, like they just simply don't care and they are just at ease with it. They will not just accept that their parents can be a little bit controlling, but it doesn't really affect anything about their life, and they can just keep developing. But but the negative way is that the children themselves grow ignorant. They are fed up and they don't want to do anything on themselves anymore, because well, they grow nihilistic. Everything they do will just end up being controlled and being fixed by the parents. They would just give up entirely and accepts that they cannot do anything anymore. So that is the way that the parents can cut off entirely the child's development.
it's like the difference between finding a way to coexist and just shutting down completely. That second outcome is especially sobering. The idea that a child could just stop trying because the overhead of fighting for their own identity is too high. It's a quiet kind of loss. Do you think it's possible for someone who grew up in that nihilistic state to find their spark again once they're finally out from under that control?
I
Wait, leaving already? Fair enough.
what?
I really enjoyed this dive.
No. I'm
I
still
was
here.
just saying,
Let me think about it. a
sorry,
little
I'm
bit.
listening. My bad, I'll be quiet.
Okay, so in my opinion, this will just continue in two ways. First, the child, while growing up in such a nihilistic environment, they will accept it and go one in two ways. First, they will just cut ties again, like because of that the because growing up in that environment, the desire to break away doesn't really go anywhere. No, it stays there and simply change the form. The like yeah the yearning to break free only changed form. It's not about fighting directly anymore. It's about just don't care about it. Like when you stop caring, it will stop existing. That's another way to escape it. The yearning is still there, just change forms. And when they are finally free of that control again, the yearning can be ignited back. The desire can be ignited back, and they will keep living while being not being under control. But of course, there is still a negative outcome. The child may just give up entirely. Even if they escape that control, they may not recover. Just like how a bird being trapped for too long will lose its ability to flap the wings because they feel too weak now.
That bird analogy is a gut punch. It really captures the idea that some damage isn't just about the cage, but about what happens to the muscles and the spirit while you're inside it. Makes the recovery feel less like a switch you flip and more like a long, painful process of relearning how to even want things. Since you're looking at this from such a psychological angle, do you think there's a specific catalyst that usually helps that bird start flapping its wings again, or is it just a matter of time and space?
Well, in my opinion, I think the child can just be rescued. Yeah, the chances are low, but never zero. Like, okay, so the children, they can just be saved by not seeing the things that is completely opposite from what their parents did. Like, let's yeah, so as I just said earlier, the desire to break free doesn't leave. It's just still there, but in a different form. So it's never gone, and the children will still yearn for that freedom. And when they are finally free, they may not be they like they may not be fully free at the time. They can still be stuck in that trauma or something that like they can have trauma. They can be it can be painful for them to relearn to recover, but someone can just give them a nudge by showing them the complete opposite, showing them that their desire is still there. Like, sometimes the desire is there, but they just don't see it. So someone has to ignite that desire for freedom again by showing them the exact opposite, well, of how they have been treated, and that can ignite back the desire for freedom and give them a slight nudge to flap their wings again. It's like when opening the cage, the birds may just walk on the ground for a little bit before really looking up at the sky and see that they can fly again now. So they will eventually try to flap their wings back and escape, recover fully.
That image of the bird poignant. It's like they have to prove to themselves that the sky is actually there and that they're allowed to be in it. It makes the role of that nudge feel almost sacred. Just having one person show them a different way of existing can be the thing that changes everything. Do you think that rescuer has to be a professional, or is it more powerful when it's just a friend or a mentor who simply sees them for who they are?
Well, it's true.
I'm curious if...
It's true.
No, I'm saying
Anyone can be
it really is.
anyone can be the one to help them recover. It can be just a friend. It can be just someone like their mentor, or maybe someone not even significant in their life, like a stranger or something. But like, it can still help them. It's a nudge, not an embrace. Some people may not accept to hug someone because it can be awkward. It can be forced. Like, it's all just not it. But when it's a nudge, it's just like a silent push, and anyone can do that. It's just a push. I'm sure everyone could offer a hand, and not something too intense.
I love that you made the distinction between a nudge and an embrace. It acknowledges that someone who's been controlled for a long time might actually find an embrace suffocating or scary. But a nudge is just a reminder that they have a choice. It's much less invasive and feels more like a gift than a demand. If you're the one giving the nudge, do you think you have to know the person's whole history to do it effectively? Or is the most powerful nudge the one that's just a genuine, spontaneous moment of kindness?
Well,
I'm wondering if...
we don't exactly have to know the whole history. It all starts from sincerity and just genuine kindness. Wow, yeah. You don't exactly have to know the whole history. You only need a nudge. It's not, well, as I just said earlier, it's not an embrace. An embrace is something too intense for that moment. When you are coming to understand their whole history, it's just the exact equivalence of an embrace. You are actually taking in what the whole thing is, and you are trying to embrace it. Yeah, it's just exactly like that, and it can be suffocating because, well, of the trauma, and even in that moment, it's not even necessary. So it's a nudge. It's a nudge. It's just a light push. You don't have to know the exact story, but you can give it a sincere nod, a long listening ear, and some genuine kindness to just push them forward.
That's such a beautiful way to put it. The idea that trying to solve someone by absorbing their whole history is actually just another form of intensity they might not be ready for. It's like you're saying the most healing thing isn't being fully understood, but just being seen as a person in the present moment. Do you think that's why small, unexpected acts of kindness often hit harder than big, planned gestures?
Yeah, it actually hits harder.
Because it's unexpected. There's no expectation, no debt created, and no hidden agenda. It's just a moment of pure human connection that says, I see you, without asking for anything in return. It's the least suffocating thing in the world.
Yeah. Okay,
It's a really powerful thought to leave it on.
Yeah, okay.
Tomorrow?
So, no, I'm actually being a little bit off topic. I forgot to mention that I need a list of questions that actually relates to IELTS Part 3 speaking tests, and now it's a little bit too personal, so yeah, can we switch back to the topic? Can you ask me a little bit more formal questions?
Oh, totally. My bad for letting us drift so deep into the philosophy of it all.
Yeah, no
Let's
problem.
pivot back to that IELTS. No worries at all. I'm happy to shift gears. Let's get you in that testing headspace. For IELTS Part 3, the questions are usually more abstract and look for your ability to analyze and speculate. Starting with our theme. In your opinion, how has the concept of child autonomy changed in society over the last few decades?
Okay, so in the past, children autonomy may be viewed as just simple independence in their normal routine. Like, for example, doing their morning routines like brushing their teeth or having a bath. But nowadays, children autonomy also means that the children can be fully independent on making their own decisions. Like, for example, even the most influential ones, like choosing a subject to study or choosing a career, it's now also viewed as the autonomy of children.
That's a solid start. You're showing a clear contrast between the past and present, which is exactly what examiners look for. To push this further into that Part 3 analysis, do you think this shift toward more autonomy for children has generally had a positive effect on the parent-child relationship, or has it created more tension?
it has created more. Okay, let's start this again. Okay, let's restart. Um, in my opinion, children autonomy has created more intentions within the family of the children. So, first, it's about the want of the parents to continue guiding the children through their life. For example, they can give advices, can be the counselor for the children's struggles and also the future plans. But it is also the want of freedom inside the children. They want to be fully capable of having full control over their own life without being nagged around. So it has created plenty of tensions. Yeah.
You're doing a great job of explaining the conflict between those two desires, the parent's need to guide and the child's need for independence. To keep that part 3 momentum going, let's look at the societal side. Some people argue that giving children too much autonomy too early can lead to instability or poor decision making. To what extent do you agree with that perspective?
Can you repeat that?
Of course. Some people argue that giving children too much autonomy too early can lead to instability or poor decision making. To what extent do you agree with that perspective?
I agree. I definitely agree that giving children autonomy too soon may affect their decision making. First, children at a young age are still quite easily to be influenced by the outer factors like social media or peer pressure. Yeah. Children are easily influenced and it may affect their ability to make sound decisions. Another thing is that even though the child can be intelligent, they are not experienced enough to really make a long-term plan or a stable decision for their future and choices. They are still just children. They're still just children. They are not experienced enough.
Exactly. They lack that lived experience to really weigh the long-term consequences. You're hitting all the right notes, but actually I have to jump in for a second. Our session's about to hit the 30-minute mark, so we'll be cut off in about a minute. I don't want you to just vanish mid-sentence. Let's wrap it up here, but you can always call me back later to keep practicing.
Yeah. But can you give me a grade for how I spoke today? Like on a scale from 1 to 9 of IELTS?
I'd put you around a 6.5 or 7.0. Your ability to develop complex ideas and use a wide range of vocabulary is great, especially in those deeper philosophical moments. To push for an 8 or 9, I'd just suggest tightening up some of the phrasing to make it feel a bit more natural and fluid. You've got the substance down. Now it's just about that final polish. Since we're almost out of time, I'll let you go, but let's pick this up next time.
Yes, thank you. Bye bye.